Well, welcome and thank you very much for joining us on this episode of the La Quinta Rotary Club of the Desert podcast.
Okay.
Uh, and thank you for being here, Karen. This is Karen Kelly, a former president and one of our very involved members. So I'm excited to be here and thank you for taking the time.
No problem.
So I always like to start, Karen. So what are you feeling grateful for today? What's on your mind?
Ooh, what am I feeling grateful for today? Great question. Grateful that the weather is beautiful here.
Mm,
If too warm,
yeah.
it is very warm today, but I'm grateful for the great weather. I'm grateful that we are in a time of uh, real opportunity in
Mm.
terms of our Rotary Club
Oh,
to serve and to be of service. And so I'm looking forward to this coming year and the opportunities that we'll have.
love it. Well, thank you. That's great. It takes a special person to be grateful for 109-degree weather. So good for you.
Yeah, well, if it were cold, I would have a hard time being grateful, but
I hear what you're saying. I think the
it's
weather is
not cold
beautiful.
here.
I think the weather is beautiful as well. So thank you. So we're going to talk in a few minutes about your Rotary and your background and history and so forth. But tell me who Karen is outside of Rotary. Like, what keeps you going? What do you do, kind of other than Rotary? What's Karen?
That's a good question. Yeah, Karen's retired,
Yeah.
and I'm new to the desert. I mean, at this point, new might be stretching the definition. I'm now 6 years in Coachella Valley and in La Quinta. And this was a real detour for me. I wasn't planning to come and live in this area, but life had plans for me that I was not aware of. And so now I'm here and looking for opportunities to be of service. So Karen is somebody who's kind of relaxing in this stage of retirement, but also interested in opportunities to make a contribution, to continue making a contribution, and whether that's actual employment or if it's being involved in things like Rotary,
Yeah. Yeah.
are things that I'm still sorting out.
Well, that's great. No, and thank you for that because we're going to talk about your background now, but you're clearly a doer. You are someone
Mm,
that is interested in doing and being, and that's a great thing, right? And so Rotary, I think, is a great fit. So you've had a very interesting background and career, but I'll let you kind of tell the story, and you can go as deep as you want or wherever you want to go. But I just love your story and
sure.
travels and so forth. So sh share with us.
Sure. I guess my story starts with, I mean, I guess the overarching theme of my story is service to others.
Yeah.
And that started even before the end of high school. I was a candy striper, if anybody remembers what those
Sure.
people were. I was a candy striper in the local hospital. And once I graduated from high school, went off to university and was looking um, at what I could do as a career or as interesting life experiences. And so after graduating from university, I joined the Peace Corps and
Mm.
I was a volunteer English teacher in West Africa. And I served in that role for 2 years of Peace Corps service. And when the Peace Corps service ended, I got an employment opportunity working for the British government. And so I was a British Embassy local hire person. And they were really interested in having another English speaker who could interact
Yeah.
also in French. And so that was kind of me. And I did that for 3 years before coming back to the US
Yeah.
and worked in the US for a few years, and then thought that the international arena was really kind of where I felt most uh, appropriately engaged, if I can put it that way.
Sure.
And so I took the the Foreign Service examination that the State Department gives, and was invited to come in and do their oral examination, and did that, was successful at that, and then had a long period of time where they were checking out my background since I had spent so much time overseas.
Yeah.
They wanted to kind of go back and make sure that, all that I was doing was everything that I said I was doing and nothing that I shouldn't have been doing. And
Fair
so
enough.
they took about a year and a half to kind of, vet me. And I then had an invitation to join a class of trainees, kind of diplomats in training. And I did that, and was very interested in doing something in State Department that I hadn't done with Peace Corps or any of my other travels. And so that was Asia for me,
Yeah.
and specifically Japan. And so I was very fortunate that my very first assignment was Tokyo, Japan. And I spent a real exciting 4 years there, and did not realize at the time, but Japan was really going to become kind of the cornerstone of my diplomatic career. Had
Mm-hmm.
4 separate um, assignments in Japan over 32 years in the
Wow.
career, and spent a total of 16 years living and working in country on these assignments. My very last assignment before I retired was in um, Osaka, Japan, as the Consul General, which is kind of the head of
Yeah.
the local American government office
Yeah.
in Western Japan, and had a great time. It was really a full circle experience for me, starting my career in Japan and ending my assignment as a diplomat in that country as well. And in the meantime, in the intervening years between Japan assignments, I did other things like I went to Cameroon in West Africa. Then I went
Mm.
to Hawaii and worked with the Pacific Command headquarters in Honolulu, and went to Southern Africa, to
Yeah.
Zimbabwe. So had a lot of Africa and Asia in my background, and really enjoyed the experience, and would love to figure out how to bring all of that to the Coachella Valley. And I don't know if Africa and Asia fit in our neighborhood, but certainly service does.
Well, there you go. And service could be the bridge there, right? Because
And I think service probably will be the bridge. Yeah.
wow, what an amazing and varied experience, right? And you condense it in probably 5 minutes, but because obviously I'm sure there's weekends worth of stories that
I'm
you could
sure there
share.
are. I'm sure I could go on and on and on about it, but I think the main thing that I would say about the career is that it was really a privilege to represent the American people and the U.S. government overseas with foreign audiences, to communicate with people and really explain who we are as Americans and what our institutions and our values are. People are very curious, and people are very um, uninformed about the United States, surprisingly enough, because our media speaks very loudly about the
Mhm.
United States, and most of what people overseas know, they know from movies or from
Yeah, yeah,
television shows.
yeah,
And while that's entertaining, it's sometimes it stretches credibility, and sometimes it stretches accuracy.
yeah.
So being able to kind of, give them a picture of America as we live it day by day, I think was what I considered my chief role.
Well, I love that. So, an emissary, as it were, for the goodness that is America at the end of the day,
Right.
across the world. So that's great. We appreciate your service. At least I appreciate your service. So
Thank you. Thank you.
As fact, I didn't know the Peace Corps angle. Actually, we must have never talked about that. I don't know if you know this. So my parents actually met in the Peace Corps.
Did they
Uh,
really?
they did. My dad was driving Jeeps in Algeria,
Wow.
And my mom was a nurse, an RN, and so she was there serving, the Peace Corps, and they
Right.
met and ultimately fell in love.
Love it. I love it.
And got married in London. My dad was from London, and so he moved
Got
back,
it.
and then I came along. So there you are.
There you
Um,
go.
so that's fascinating, and I agree with your assessment I was really fortunate and blessed to spend a lot of my formative years growing up overseas, which is a whole other story, but in Haiti and in Southeast Asia
Right.
and so forth. And so you're right. The impression that people have of Americans is not always consistent with, you know,
Who
what they
we
see.
are.
Yeah, exactly. So
Mhm.
and they are very curious, right? And I will
Right.
tell you that I think that most foreign people are far more open to learning than I think that. I hate to say it, but then many Americans don't seem to want to learn about the rest of the world. You know,
Yeah, it's a big world out there. And
it sure is.
while
Yeah,
we've got a fairly large country,
yeah,
it's not,
yeah.
among the nations of the world, there's still a lot out there to know and to
Absolutely.
understand.
Sure.
And I
Sure.
think that we saw that most recently with the World Cup
Yes, completely.
here, that people were coming and they came with, the impressions and the assumptions about the United States, and then they got here and they saw for themselves and
Hmm.
they met Americans,
Yeah,
and it really changed their outlook
yeah,
on the country and the people. And I
yeah,
think that that really was the challenge that I faced as a diplomat and a representative of the United States, was that people thought they understood who we were and what America meant, and then they would engage with us in the consulate or in the embassy when I worked in the embassy, and then they would understand that there's more there.
yeah.
Um,
Exactly,
we
exactly.
had we had opportunities to send some foreign representatives to the United States, and they could see for themselves, and to a person they would come back, um, really changed by that experience. Number one, just like at the World Cup, the food
Yeah,
was amazing for people, because people really assume that America's only hot dogs and hamburgers, and then they see what we really do eat, and they were amazed by the hospitality,
yeah,
because we would try to give our visitors a homestay experience, and that would always be something that they really treasured the most. Actually meeting with regular Americans, as they put it, an American family that would host them for a dinner or a
sure,
lunch or an
sure.
outing, and to engage with people like that was a really unique experience. And I heard a lot of that during the World Cup. People
Completely.
who had come to the U.S. and were just kind of, I thought one way about America, but I'm here now and I'm meeting people, and I see that a lot of what I thought and assumed was wrong.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you. And in an odd sort of way, maybe it's not odd, but it sort of reflects the attitude I think of Rotary, right? So
Right.
Rotary is very inclusive. We are welcoming, we open, we don't. There's no prejudgment of where you've been, what you do, what you want to do, and so forth, right?
Exactly.
And of course, there's always people that don't always fit that mold, but for the most part,
Right.
Rotary's mission and core is to be open to all, to learn about others, to be interested, and to provide service at the end of the day.
Exactly.
Had you heard of Rotary during your professional working career? Did you have an impression of Rotary or heard of it going back?
I had heard of Rotary, especially in Japan, because there are
Okay.
lots of business people who are Rotarians.
Yeah.
And in fact, in my last assignment as Consul General in Osaka, I was made an honorary Rotarian in
Oh.
one of the big Rotary clubs that the president of Mitsubishi and all of these big
Ah.
corporations were Rotarians as well. And so I knew that Rotary had a role. What they did specifically, besides anointing honorary Rotarian status to the Consul General, was not as clear, but I did know about Rotary. And then way back in high school, before I graduated, I did get a Rotary scholarship.
Very
a
good.
grant of about, I think it was about $500, to go off and, buy books at university, in my freshman year.
Love that.
So, I did have kind of a Rotary gives money to students,
Yeah.
idea of Rotary. And Rotary is an honorary title that, can be bestowed on the Consul General of the United
Yeah.
States. And so, in between that, I don't think that I really did have a clear idea
Yeah.
of all that Rotary did. And
Yeah.
that's what, I guess this service now is filling in the 100 other years in between
That's right. Of what it does.
my Rotary experiences. So yeah, it's, learning more about Rotary and the good that is done in the world, through Rotarians and through, contributions that Rotarians make, to
Great.
international, relief and humanitarian activities is what I'm learning about now, and it's really a fantastic organization.
Yeah. No, it is fascinating. So cool. Well, so you arrived here in the desert, give or take
Right?
6 years ago. You didn't, you had some knowledge of Rotary, but not a lot. So what was your origin story? How did you come to become involved in Rotary here in the desert and specifically in La Quinta
Sure.
of the desert?
Yep. I have a neighbor,
Yep.
still have that neighbor, who had invited me to come to a Rotary meeting, and
Okay.
that's really how it started. We met because in our community we had get-togethers and, you know um, gatherings among the community members, and we struck up a conversation. And she kind of looked at me and said, you ought to be in Rotary.
Uh,
And I said, oh, really? And she said, yeah, we've got a Rotary Club here in La Quinta, and I'd like to invite you to come and be a part of Rotary. And I looked it up and I, remembered, oh, yeah, Rotary gave me that
yeah.
$500 scholarship way back in, as a high school senior going off to university, and Rotary gave me my honorary pin as a consul general and, made me an honorary Rotarian in their club. And so I thought, yeah, service, is something that I'd be interested in doing. And I was really interested in learning more about Coachella Valley as a newcomer who hadn't lived here before, hadn't worked, or had been educated in this area, learning a little bit more about the institutions and the people in this area. I thought Rotary would be a great way to kind of get a quick start on understanding where I'm living and what goes on here. And so I went to a meeting, really enjoyed it, and that really is kind of my origin story. Decided to
Yeah.
join the La Quinta Rotary Club of the Desert.
Yeah. That's so cool. And then it's a younger club, right? As
Right.
we talked about, and you became president. You've held
Yep.
many roles already, leadership roles in the organization, and were president 2 years ago.
Right.
Um, so tell me what's well, I guess two questions. So
Okay.
what did you learn being president? And maybe what's one thing in general that you think the club has done really well that you're proud of that maybe you
Uh,
so as president, what was your experience then something you're kind of proud of within the club?
sure. My Rotary experience as president was really good. I mean, the president of a new club,
Yeah.
newly formed club, means that it's really a ground floor experience. You're going to get in and you're going to roll up your sleeves, and you're really going to have some foundational work in building the club.
Hmm.
So that's what I found, as my year of president was, keeping the enthusiasm level high, among members, encouraging members to invite their friends and others that they think would embrace the service ethos of Rotary, was something that I wanted to encourage. But I think what I'm proudest of, oh gosh, that's hard to say. I mean, I really liked the emphasis on literacy
Okay.
that our club has had, and continues to have.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think that we are really putting our finger on the pulse of the valley in emphasizing the next generation, and emphasizing the importance of literacy skills, and in shaping who young people will become in Coachella Valley. So I really believe that that is kind of an area of work that we really can expand,
Yeah,
and that we can further develop for the benefit, not only of our club and the members who have a similar shared interest, but also to really kind of plant some seeds for the future. And
yeah,
so, if we do anything as a club, or if we did anything as a club during my tenure as president, I thought that really leaving that legacy of literacy and support for literacy was something that I think I'm proudest of.
yeah. I love that. Yeah, one of the things that attracted me to the club was the same kind of thing, was an emphasis on young people,
Mm.
literacy, and forming that generation. I think that, in the Coachella Valley, we have somewhat of a unique, demographic, right? So you do have a lot of,
Right,
people are a little bit older, not everyone's retired, but, semi-retired or partially retired,
right,
whatever you want to call it. And yet you have a young population that lives here,
right.
and oftentimes doesn't have the same opportunities as you might have living larger to a big, we're close to LA, but yet you don't have the LA influence in such a way.
Not at
So
all.
I
Hmm.
do think there's amazing things that Rotary and other organizations can contribute, to the Coachella Valley, the next generation, as it were. So, well, thank you. So can you think of one thing that Rotary has given to you personally, right? So
Hmm.
something that's kind of made a difference in your life, not the club, just to Karen. Is there something that stands out in your mind that you think's been, and people talk about a Rotary moment, right? So it could be a
Mm,
Rotary moment, or it could be something you've learned from Rotary that you think is important in your life.
right. Well, I like the motto, service before
Yeah.
self. I would hope that while I've done a lot of things for myself, I hope that I have also in my lifetime given service to others, have emphasized service to others. Um, what Rotary has done for me personally has connected me with a community that I didn't know, and given me, some faces to put to names, um, and responsibilities in the Coachella Valley. And it's also given me a community of people who I engage with.
Yeah.
Coming as someone from overseas, my relationships over in the countries where I lived and worked were pretty rich. But then coming to live here, apart from family, I really knew no one. And so Rotary kind of gave me a quick start on developing community here.
Yeah. Yeah. That's great. I like that a lot. Um, as we start to kind of wrap up here, um, what do you think makes the La Quinta Rotary Club of the Desert somewhat unique from the other clubs? There's a lot of great clubs here
Mm.
in Coachella Valley, and they're all fantastic and do good work. Is there something that you think makes our club somewhat unique? And again, you and I have never been in another club, so it's
Right.
hard, it may be hard to comment. But you've learned and you've seen other stuff. Is there anything that stands out to you?
I think that we have a unique niche in La Quinta, because, as you said, there's this dichotomy. We've got a beautiful retirement communities of people
Yeah, yeah.
who are here, and people are kind of at the exit end of life. If I can put it that way, and have accomplished a lot,
Yeah,
and have been successful. I think if there's one thing that characterizes the people who live in La Quinta, is that you've got a lot of successful people
sure.
who have accomplished a lot over the course of their lives and careers.
Yeah,
What Rotary does, what our club does, is it gives it gives some of those people who have a service orientation a chance to make a mark at this point in life. And it's not Rotary's not a career.
Mhm.
It's more of a calling, if you will.
Mm.
And we have an opportunity to really leave a legacy of service.
Yeah.
What are we doing? We can be useful and serve others and our neighbors and our community at every stage of life. So in
Mhm.
this stage of life, this, I think, Rotary is one of the things that we can do to leave a legacy and to serve at this point in our lives. We gather, we have fun, we fellowship, but then we also look around and say, how can we as club members come together and really make a difference in the lives of others in our community who maybe have not had that same trajectory of career success that
Mhm.
we've enjoyed.
Yeah. Very well said. Thank you. That's great. Um, all right, so we're almost done here. I'm going to ask you one more question. I'm going to allow
Okay.
you to sort of close us out.
Okay.
And so, if you were to share an idea, a thought, a good wish, something with the world to make the world a better place,
Mm.
what would you tell? What would you tell us that make the world a better place?
To make the world a better place. Wow, that's a big, that's
Just
tall.
a small little task for you, Karen. Just something you can
Exactly.
share, some words of wisdom.
Yeah, I think that there's always something that we can do um, together to make a difference. As we look around the world, we see all kinds of situations and problems, and it seems so big and so
Mm.
overwhelming. What can I do to make a difference? Well, Rotary might be the answer. It is join a club, join a Rotary club, join our Rotary club, and you'll find that there are ways that even in this stage of our lives, we can come together and we can make our community and the world and the larger world around us a better place, that we can contribute to the eradication of polio. We can contribute to people living abroad who need services, or people who have experienced the disaster in the recovery. Do we have to go out and do that ourselves? Not necessarily, but we can contribute to making the world a better place. And of the 46,000 clubs around the world in Rotary, we are one part of a very large organization that is making a difference in our world and in our local communities every day.
Love it. You should be on a commercial. Well, well,
Thanks.
thank you very much, Karen. I appreciate your
Sure,
time, and we will see you
sure.
very soon.
All righty then.